If you are enjoying this podcast and other podcasts on the Dragon Wagon Radio Network, be sure to check out the Dragon Wagon Shop. Awesome t-shirts and mugs from your favorite shows so you can tout your podcast pride, all while supporting your favorite indie podcast network. And make sure to check it often for new items and limited time designs. So shop now at dragonwagonshop.com and get your dragon swag on.
This mythology, Paul's a connoisseur. Sarah has an interest, but it's all Greek to her. From Cronus's kids' weird childhood to what's going down in Hades' hood. These fables are bizarre but good. It's myth understood.
Stood.
Oh wow, Sarah, what's going on today?
It's raining.
Yeah, that's cool.
Who's got a rain?
You are.
That's right. Bless the rain standing.
Do you know what's coming up?
Your fucking birthday.
Yeah, my birthday's coming up.
It's the event of the year, kids.
February 10th.
Venmo him. Venmo him $1,000 each.
I was born on a beautiful morning in Northern California on February 10th in 1986.
You mean you were found by a goat mother?
I was found by a goat mother. That's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Also, coming up, it's Valentine's Day.
Yes, it is.
And as such, today on this episode of Myth Understood,
we doing some more arrows
with me, Paul Bianchi, and her, Sarah Oliver.
I'm that person.
Yeah. We will be telling a wonderful tale of love. This tale was suggested to me by someone a long time ago, and I don't remember who it was, but thank you for suggesting it.
Good shout out, Paul.
Yeah. This story was first told by Ovid, so you know it's going to be weird.
Oh boy, animals, a lot of animals.
He's all about transformation.
Okay, animorphs, yeah.
And the story has a lot of similarities with a certain story in Genesis in the Bible. And there was a clue in there. It has a lot of similarities.
Wait, what?
Like a lot, like lot.
Oh, you're expecting me to know stuff from the Bible?
I am, yes. I'll start telling you the story, and if you're like, hey, that reminds me of something from that maybe I heard from someone that might have heard it from the Bible, then you'll know. This is a story of Baucis and Philemon.
Are those Bible people?
No,
nope.
They are Greek people. No, Lot is the person from the Bible.
There's someone named Lot?
Yes.
They hang out with Job?
Job?
You say Job, I say Job.
he had a job, I think. Anyway, let's get into Baucis and Philemon. In a hilly land called Phrygia, there is a steep-sided valley. Most of the valley is filled with a dark lake.
Is that where they roll the babies down? Because everyone's bad with babies.
They roll babies down. It's sort of like remember when you played Skyrim, if you were standing on a hill and you dumped your inventory, like all of your inventory would just roll down the hill.
I never did that. God, you were wasteful.
You just have all those wheels of cheese and they'd roll down the side of the cliff.
Or they rolled right down my gullet.
Oh, that's true. Beside this lake, there grew two trees, an oak and a linden tree. Their branches were entwined, and hanging from every bough and every branch are ribbons. And
Pretty.
this is a myth about how these two entangled trees and dangling ribbons came to be.
Aww.
So it begins, as many myths do, with Zeus and Hermes hanging out on Mount Olympus.
Aww.
The
original bromance.
Yeah. Zeus is kicking back on like his chair. Like if anyone else sits in Zeus's chair, it's like no good.
No, well, also it's just got his ass indent, you know?
Yeah.
The dad chair.
And Hermes is hanging out on the other side. And it's like one of those father-son bonding moments where they're just like both, like, my theory is both of them are just getting hammered.
Yeah.
And it's like a lazy Sunday.
Miller time, baby.
It's Miller time. They're also just like such gossips. And so there's
Hermes especially.
Yeah. And so Zeus is like, hey, did you hear that Did you hear that Aphrodite is getting it on with Ares again?
Stop.
Yeah.
Wait, Aries.
Yeah, they were on again, off again.
Yeah. Like after Helios did that whole thing?
Yeah, even after that, they're
Whoa.
still boinking.
You have the best tea, Dad.
Yeah,
Thanks for spilling it.
Yeah, what do you have for me? Come on. Give me some tea.
I have some tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's all these mortals
Uh-huh.
and they don't want to have sex with you, I've heard.
What?
Yeah.
That's silly.
That they did a poll and literally no one wants to have sex with you that's immortal. So you got to stop it.
You shut your dirty trap.
Okay, Dad. Bear me.
Here you go.
Ow!
And unable to resist said tea spilling session, Rumor, the spirit of Rumors, flew up to join them. Rumor, if you remember, has a bunch of mouths and tongues.
I don't know why I forgot that detail.
Yeah, she's awful
Just
looking.
pretend the door's locked so we don't hear her.
She's all rapping on the window like, hello, I know you're gossiping in there.
No, we're watching that's the TV that you hear.
Beer me, bros. Beer me.
God, she has so many mouths. She's gonna drink all the beer.
And she flies in and she says to them, all right, I got some hot gossip.
Come on, give it to us. If we have to look at you, you're so strange.
There is a town at the bottom of a steep-sided valley in a hilly land of Phrygia where the sacred laws of hospitality, or, the Xenia, are not taken seriously.
Stop it. That is literally the juiciest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Strangers are not welcome. If you try to go and knock on their door, they're not going to let you in.
I wish we had done that to you.
At first, when they hear this gossip, they don't care.
Yeah.
Rumor is like, okay, well, can I at least have some beer? And proceeds to drink, as you said.
7 of them.
Yeah, she.
Yeah.
I mean, she only has 2 arms, but she two fists
Oh,
them in several.
do you think having 2 arms stops me? Okay.
And but then at the same time, they hear Hera from the next room, and she's like, "Zeus, Hermes, there's chores to be done." And they're like, okay, let's go investigate. It's like our godly duty to see if this rumor is true.
No, it's not. Of all the things they can do.
Yeah. So it's they create a storm. And it's storming outside, and it's the middle of the night, and there, as the thunderstorm goes over this land of Phrygia, Zeus is like, "Hey, you know what would be the shit, Hermes?
What's up, bruh?
Don't call me brah. I'm your daddy.
Bruh, Dad.
Yeah. What if we rode a lightning bolt down to the ground?
Stop it. You're so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I don't even care you're my dad. You are straight up my bruh.
Let's get on.
Woo!
And so they both ride a lightning bolt down to the ground. It crashes into the ground. They both spill out on either sides. Their bodies are just all singed
They are
and burnt.
so drunk on Miller.
Yeah. And when they land too, he's like, Zeus looks at Hermes and he's like, "What do you think?" Because Hermes notices that their forms have changed. They are now just random.
They're dressed in Hawaiian shirts.
They were just in Hawaiian shirts. They're random traveling men, dirty and disheveled. They just
Zeus did that?
Yeah, they just look like a bunch of bums suddenly.
This is like a buddy comedy so far.
It is, yeah.
Let's go check it out. Road trip.
Aren't you excited to learn how it's going to become a love story?
Oh, no.
And the entire world now sees them as a pair of random travelers, and they find that this town that they land in is filled with many well-to-do merchants with fancy homes. But since it's raining, from the storm that they created, it's all the windows are shut and barred, and the doors are closed and locked. And so they're like, "All right, let's go test this out. Let's see if they're gonna be nice to us." And so they walk up to the first nice house they see, and they knock on the door, and the person opens the door, and they're like, yo, me and my son here.
Fuck off.
What
You can fucking fuck off.
wait,
Get the fuck out of here.
why are you
Get the fuck out of here.
why are you kind of Scottish?
Get the fuck out.
And the door slams in their face, and they're like, oh wow, well, yeah, these people, fuck them. They don't respect the Xenia. Let's go to their next door neighbor. And they go across the street. There's sheep getting wet in the rain, and they're like walking past the sheep, like, oh, look at all these sheep.
The sheep are all, fuck off. Get the fuck out of here.
Man, these sheep are really surly. And then they walk over to the next door neighbor. They knock on their door, and this person opens the door. They're like, hey, we're just a couple of weary travelers.
I have mace.
You have mace?
Oh, mace spray.
And she sprays them with mace. She also hits them with a mace, and she like closes the door in their face.
Every kind of mace. I have this vase.
She even has things that rhyme with mace. And
get out of my face.
She tells them to leave too. Like literally, they get yelled at, they get kicked, they get spit on. These people are like, get the fuck out of.
I hope that someone just opened up the little mail slot and spit out that. They open the door.
Yeah, it's like a cartoon too. So that like that happens, and then they like after they look, like there's a little mouse house like with a tiny door next to the main door, and they also like the little mouse spits in their face too.
Dad, bruh.
What?
Do you think they're being mean to us because the way you made us dress?
These Hawaiian shirts are eternally going to be in style.
Yeah, but you made us wear high socks with those kind of open sandals.
Yeah. This is what travelers wear. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to add more pockets to your cargo shorts too.
No.
So
just a halo of spit from every angle on him.
It's not even raining anymore, but they're drenched in spit now. That's awful. At last, tired, sore, hungry, and thoroughly drenched in spit, they trudge up the side of the valley, leaving the town behind. And they're like, oh yeah, this rumor was right. This place is awful. We're just gonna murder everyone inside of it.
Okay. I thought that might be the case.
And as they did, they see that there's a little hut right near the edge of town that they're approaching. And standing in front of it is an old woman, and this is Baucis. She is a boss lady.
Mm-hmm.
She and her husband Philemon had met in town several years before. They had fallen in love and had gotten married. They had grown gray and old together, and they were never able to have children, and they could hardly support themselves. They were very poor, but they had accepted that their plight, so they had made the most of what they had.
Oh, is this going to be like Sarah and Abraham in the Bible?
Maybe.
Oh.
They were very devoted to one another, and the only thing in the world that they had that they valued, this is not going to be like Sarah and Abraham, was their goose. Their goose who guarded their home.
I remember a biblical goose.
This was a goose that they loved nearly as much as one could love a child. What is this goose's name?
Oh,
And I'm just asking you to choose one. I'm not asking you to guess because this goose doesn't have a name in the
Oh,
story.
he doesn't?
No.
Okay. Merv
The goose. So when Baucis sees these bedraggled strangers approaching, she feels really bad for them, and she hobbles over really eagerly.
You want some lemonade?
You want some my lemonade drink? She says, "You there, mighty Zeus, whose temple is in the sky, has decreed anyone who approaches our home in need of food or need of shelter ought to be welcomed. Are you hungry?" And Hermes and Zeus look at each other and are like, "Yeah, I could totally eat.
I can eat, man.
Yeah,
You got any Miller?
yeah. Do you have Miller? Do you have booze to go with said food?" And she's all like, "Oh, maybe. We'll then." What we have, we'll share with you. Come inside now. Come, get your asses in here. And Zeus and Hermes, still disguised as these men, they
raise their sunglasses, they look at each other,
and
then
raise their eyebrows at each other and nod.
This is an 80s bro comedy.
They drop the dead person that they were pretending to be alive in between them.
Yeah.
They enter the hut. They have to stoop to enter. It's like one of those huts that has like the very low entrances, and Zeus and Hermes are pretty tall.
It's a hobbit hole.
Yeah, it's a little hobbit hole. And they were welcomed by Baucis' husband, the old man Philemon, and he takes them in warmly and
kisses them on both cheeks.
And shakes their hand. He gives them each a stool to sit on. They sit. As they're doing this, Baucis is like, "Oh, Philemon, we have guests," and she starts.
No shit, I just let them in.
And she blows into the ashes at the bottom of their heating grate so that they grow red again to like warm up the home. The old man puts on his cloak immediatily and is like,
I want to see a magic show.
he shows them a magic show, and then he hobbles out into the storm and picks up some vegetables from his garden. And his garden has very few vegetables at this moment, but he's like, I'm gonna give my vegetables to these people. And the old woman has just a very small amount of pork, and she's like, well, that's the end of this. And she like cuts that up and she puts that in a pot. The old man comes back inside. He throws in vegetables. They pour in water. They sprinkle herbs. They throw in garlic. And then while the food is preparing, they're like, I guess we have to be entertaining. So yeah, hence magic show.
The vaudeville show, yeah.
A vaudeville show. Dun, 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 dun. And yeah, they put on hats and gloves and have a cane and that they share.
That they both need to walk.
Yeah. And they entertain them, and they try to take their guests' minds off of the long delay before it's time to eat. The old man also gives them each a beechwood bowl full of warm water to wash off the dust and grime from their journey. And the old woman has dragged a table out from the shadows. And this is such a weird detail of the story that like, and the table, like, it's just to like, everything is to just show how poor they are. Is like the table has like one leg that's shorter than the other. And so she like pulls out a tile and puts it underneath to like center it, just pulling out all the stops.
Yeah.
She rubs the surface of the table with stalks of fresh mint so that it smells fragrant. And they sit around them. She gives them the best chairs. She gives them things to nibble while they ate. Olives, wild cherries that they had steeped in wine, lumps of cheese, radishes,
They're
eggs.
trying too hard. I feel like they're going to harvest my organs or something.
This is the Xenia. You're supposed to like pull out all the stops for wandering travelers.
No thanks. I'm like the other people in the village.
Fuck
off.
True story. My dad and I went on a hike in Crete, and we went all the way through this gorge, and we entered into this very small, poor town in Crete. And this very, like, I have that picture of my dad with these two old women sitting outside of a shop, and they gave us Coke and apples.
Aw.
Just because.
That's cute.
Yeah. So maybe the Xenia still...
I'll do that. I'm not rubbing mint on anything.
She rubbed mint all over my dad's face. So this is where the magic starts to happen. Is they have one jug of wine. They're like, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that's where all the magic starts.
Yeah. It's they don't have any Miller. She pours it out carefully between the four of them. They sipped, making it last as long as they could because that's just all she had.
And they're alcoholics, so they need it to not get the shakes.
And she gave them their stew. After they ate their stew, they had nuts and grapes and figs and dates, and sweet slices of honeycomb. And after all the meal, there was talk and there was light laughter. But Baucis looks up.
What does Zeus have to talk to anyone about?
So
I smited her.
I smote this woman. I mean, I'm a regular guy. I just turned this lady into a goat and had sex with her. And the rain continues to pour down outside, just like a nasty storm. And nasty little storm. But Baucis looks at the wine jug, and she was sure it had been empty, and yet it's full again. She pours it out between the four of them, and as soon as she finishes pouring it, she looks at the jug again, and it is again still filled with wine.
Oh yeah, Zeus is here to keep the party going.
She turns to her husband Philemon, and she says,
"You're getting it tonight, baby."
She says, Philemon, either I'm high, just out of my mind, or these two people are gods. These are two great Olympian gods here in our home. What kind of meal was this to give two of the great Olympian gods? And Philemon's like, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, it was pretty good. Might not keep us from being turned into rocks or livestock or had sex with against our will. I hate to say it, but we need to kill Merv.
Who's no?
Yeah, exactly. I actually wrote that in here. No, says Philemon.
Says Sarah.
And she's like, take this axe and go kill our surrogate child.
Oh my God.
We'll roast the goose in their honor. I mean, it's the only way that'll appease them.
No.
And Philemon stood and he smiled to the strangers, like a tear going down his face, and he shuffles out of the cottage. Inside,
and they hear this or they don't hear this?
It's unclear if they hear it or not. They're just like, ha ha ha.
Zeus is a monster.
And
thought I hated him before.
Inside, the woman decides, Baucis decides to raise her voice, hoping she can drown out the impending squawking and honking of the dying goose. So she's like,
this is a weird scene.
So she's like telling the story like even louder, whatever she's talking about. Like, and then I went to the market and this woman, and like as she's talking even louder, like she's also crying, like trying to like hide, like everything's fine.
Oh my God, they really did drink too much wine. She's just yelling and crying. This is every birthday party I've had.
But Philemon is fucking old, and old age has made him slow. And as he lumbers towards Merv, who's in their little house that they like built for Merv and like hand painted on the side, Merv looks back and is like, "Oh, something's wrong. I know something's gonna go down." And he just immediately starts honking and like running, and he's too fast for Philemon. So like in front, like. So just imagine the scene. Inside the house, Baucis is talking and crying while Zeus and Hermes are just like looking at her. And then outside in the front of the house, in the rain,
the Benny Hill
goose chase is happening outside. And when this woman is shouting and Zeus is like, "Shut up!" The Merv bursts through the front door. Like that's a strong ass goose. It's like able to like kick through the door, and it's like and like runs towards Zeus and hides behind him as like Philemon like runs in with this axe and is like, "I almost got him." And the two travelers, Hermes and Zeus, stand up and like block not
on my fucking watch.
Well, yeah, Zeus is like looking down and is like looking at the sexy goose.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
As someone who's been a swan, I cannot let you harm this nice piece of ass.
And he says to them, there is no need for you to kill this creature who you love so much. We are gods, but you've already given us far more than we could have hoped for. Old man, old woman, I didn't learn your names.
We have names.
Follow us now. And so he starts heading out of the hut. Hermes follows after him, and Baucis and Philemon are like, "Sorry, Merv." And Merv like flips them off. Yeah. And they like leave the hut and follow them into the rain. And they follow Zeus and Hermes all the way up to the top of this hill, and it's this like very tall hill that overlooks the entire village. And Hermes warns them as they're walking. He's like, "Hey, I know I said this to Oedipus already as we were leaving the underworld, but you're not going to want to look back." And they're like, "Why? What are you guys doing?" And from behind them, they don't look back, but they hear a rush of water and like horrific screams.
Wait, is Merv okay?
Merv's probably okay. I think Merv is.
He can float on water.
Yeah, Merv's a goose.
Okay.
And they when they reach the top ridge, they turn and they sink to their knees in awe, because at the bottom of this valley where all of these fancy homes, where all these people who were shouting "fuck off" earlier, they're all gone. Where it had been, there is now a dark lake. And they turn back to Zeus and Hermes, and as they turn back, they look back and they have to shield their eyes because they're no longer in dirty Hawaiian t-shirts. They're in clean Hawaiian t-shirts.
No, too beautiful to look upon.
They are in their true form. They're in, not their full true form, because if you recall from the other myth with Dionysus's mom, that if they're in their true form, they would burst into flames. But they're in close to their true form, just glowing, angelic-looking gods.
Glow up.
And they're just wearing.
Now they're wearing like a fitted tiki hipster shirt and like skinny jeans.
That is their true glory, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're like, they just announce, "We have punished this town.
You've murdered everyone. A punishment you can learn from. Murder is, it's forever."
We have punished them, and they just like high five in front of them.
They chest bump.
And exactly. Baucis and Philemon are like, yeah, holy shit, yeah, we can see that. I can see Ruth floating down there.
And I can tell you, the greatest punishment that you could give us is turning us into trees. I would fucking hate that.
He says, only you were spared. We were touched by the warmth of your welcome. We will give you both a wish. Speak now. Anything will be granted to you. Speak now. Speak now.
I want to be young
now.
and rich, young and hot. Keep it tight.
The old woman speaks first. She says, mighty Zeus, transform our hut into a golden temple that we might worship there for however many years we have left.
What?
That's her wish.
She's an idiot.
Zeus bows his head. Another wish. Speak now. And Hermes is like, yeah, speak now. Speak now.
Young and hot. Keep it tight.
The old man spoke then. But as the story goes, it could have been his wife. Not that the storyteller of it is unknowing if it was the wife or the man, but it means that it might as well have been his wife speaking, because Baucis and Philemon are so in love and so in sync with each other that they are of one mind. And Philemon says, when it is Baucis and my time to die, will you make us die together? Will you make us die in the same moment, so that I will not have to stand beside her grave, so that she will not have to bury me, so that someone else will have to clean that shit up?
Yeah.
Hermes and Zeus.
And also, you're in a town where there's no one, so no one will find you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We just rot together in our golden temple.
Zeus and Hermes look at each other and just like break into laughter. Because they're gods and they have no sense of like what is love.
Yeah.
What is this wish? And they look at them, and then with a crack of lightning, they disappear. They find that when they return back to their home, that it has been turned into a golden temple. And for many years, they live as priestess and priest of this golden temple.
What? People
come by and like give them tidings, and
do they at least have a gift shop so they can make a little money?
Yeah, they have a gift shop.
Okay.
Merv runs the cash register there. Then one morning, early, the old man Philemon was digging in his garden before the heat of in the heat of the sun, and he found that it was too fierce, and so Helios was just like doing his job a little bit too much. Baucis calls to him. He sees her standing outside of the temple, staring at her feet. And when he looks, her toes had taken root, and brown bark was spreading up her legs. He hobbles towards her. He puts his arm around her waist. She puts his arm around his back. And as they embraced, they could feel buds emerging from the tips of their fingers. He could feel leaves growing from the bald crown of his head.
Oh, this is creepy.
And as the bark spreads across their faces, they look into each other's eyes one last time, and they say, how did they screw up this wish? Yeah, neither of us wanted this.
Yeah.
Like, we just wanted to die at the same time.
That's a Zeus for you.
And they're like, goodbye, dear one. And then they turn into these two trees. The oak tree and the linden tree. But that's how it's supposed to be beautiful and poetic, clearly, but it's weird.
It's kind of horrifying.
Yeah. the story at the time it's told by Ovid, so who knows if this is true now, but it says the lake can be found even now. Maybe it's dried up now. The temple is long gone, but beside the lake still grow 2 trees, an oak and a linden. Their branches are entwined as though they're embracing, and it became a place that like lovers travel to. They travel to these trees as a sort of mecca and tie messages into the branches with ribbons. Some claim to hear the trees whisper to each other. Baucis,
I have to pee.
Philemon, I have to pee. But the people who claim to hear this are high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drinking unlimited jugs of wine and Miller.
Yeah. So that's the story of Baucis and Philemon. A beautiful love story, right?
Yeah.
A beautiful love story encapsulated by very odd,
bizarre Zeus
surroundings and a buddy movie.
Buddy movie, yeah.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that part. I did like seeing them. It was a bottle episode of of Zeus and Friends.
Yeah, it was Zeus and Friends. Like while other more important things are happening,
yeah.
like they decided to do that.
A little road trip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Spec script.
Ladies and gentlemen, well, I suppose it's just gentlemen and gentlemen. Baucis and
Goose.
Baucis and Philemon proudly present our show-stopping numbers. Watch first as my wife Baucis does a juggling feat while singing a poetic hymn.
Oh, fuck you. Juggling feet. It is such a treat to have a god here on my seat.
Oh, she is so clever, isn't she? Well, she's about to introduce my act. I wonder what that's going to be.
Now, check out my man as he throws knives around our goose.
Well, this isn't going to hurt, Merv, but it might. Yeah.
And now watch as all of you make everything we own disappear.
What?
Because they're eating all our shit.
Oh. Okay, I get it now. I thought you were inferring that, like, and then they rob us.
Well, and then they make the town we live in disappear. That's a fucking magic trick.
That is absolutely true. Well, that was the story of Baucis and Philemon. We really enjoyed. We, as in I, enjoyed doing more research on that. I read several different versions of this story that were like very like soft-handed in the way that they told the story of like, oh, they turned this to gold and this, like, it was more of a tale that was like, hey, if you're kind to travelers, then you'll get these things, and it completely left out the murder of the town. And I'm like, well, that doesn't feel very Greek to me.
No, it's not.
Now, given that I mentioned that this was related to a story from Genesis, is there a story that now you think of when I brought this up? I mean, you talked about Sarah and Abraham, but do you remember the story of Lot at all?
No.
Lot, I could be butchering this because I am not a Bible scholar in any stretch of the imagination, but my understanding of it is that there was Lot and his wife, and they 2 angels came to their house, and exactly the same sort of thing happened where they went to Sodom and Gomorrah, and they were looking for hey, who will let us 2 roving angels stay here? And Lot was the only one who did that. And afterwards, the angels were like, all right, follow us again up a hill and don't look back.
Who wrote the story first?
As we, the timeline would be that Ovid was born in BC.
Okay.
And died
so this would be
in, I think, like 1780.
Uh-huh.
So this Ovid story would have come first before the Bible story.
Well, depending on which testament.
Yeah, maybe, or it might have been exactly around the same time.
Yeah, just 2 different adaptations.
Yeah,
that's
and
cool.
But the difference is that when Lot is walking up the mountain, and
The angels had machine guns.
the angels had machine guns. They absolutely destroy the people in this town by turning them into pillar of salt. And when Lot's wife looks back, or Lot's daughter, I'm not sure, the consequence of looking back while this destruction is happening is that
You've been salted.
she turns into a pillar of salt. Yeah.
A pillar of salt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's different.
It sure is.
I don't see the angels in Hawaiian shirts.
This was of course, for our sister podcast, Bible. What?
Very cool. Well, I learned a new thing. What did you learn?
Wait, what was the new thing that you learned, or are you asking?
Mm-hmm. What did you learn?
What did I learn from researching this? I learned that that Hermes and Zeus like to bro down sometimes.
I learned I'm happy to have a gate in front of my apartment because I don't want to be drowned. But I also don't want to let strange people in my house because I feel like that leads to being drowned. I think you're drowned either way.
Yeah. I think the concept of the Xenia is very nice in a world where people behave nicely. But even back then, you could have invited a warlord into your house.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened to Cersei.
Yeah, or
pirates be crazy.
Yeah, or Penelope with all of those men showing up. Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, thank you for listening to another episode of Myth Understood. If you want to continue to follow us on social media, or start following us on social media, we are at _Myth Understood on both Twitter and Instagram. You can we often repost things that people who listen to us do because it's endlessly wonderful, exciting, and entertaining
really
for
is,
us.
Yeah.
A listener of ours named Gabby just recently had a birthday, and she had a wonderful Myth Understood cake.
It's the cutest thing I ever did see.
Yeah. You can also find us if you don't use Spotify or iTunes or Libsyn for some reason. You can also find us directly on the website. You can find us at mythunderstoodpodcast.com.
Individually, we have social medias. That's at the Paul Bianchi on Instagram.
That it is. And that is the Sarah Oliver on both Twitter and Instagram.
Yup.
Feel free to also share with your friends and use hashtags to find us. That's a good thing.
Guys, thank you so much for your amazing reviews on Apple Podcasts. When you rate and review us and you leave a written review, you are helping us come up to the pool of searching for Greek mythology up a little higher in that totem pole.
Yeah. We, of course, are part of the Dragon Wagon Radio Network. You can follow at It's Dragon Wagon on all social media to support this independent podcast network. You can also visit the shop at dragonwagonradio.com. You can click the shop button there. We have... You're
killing it.
I am killing it. We have products including the new shirt by Nymphimos and also other
coffee
products,
mugs.
Also coffee mugs and delightful things there as well. You can also show your support generally at dragonwagonradio.com/support. All proceeds from the shop and any support that you give us the /support section aid in helping this podcast and other podcasts on the network grow.
And we're growers, not showers.
That's absolutely right.
Thank you guys for listening. We love you from the cackles of our heart.
What?
Cackles of our heart?
I'll accept that. Goodbye.
Good night.
Hey guys, I'm really excited to introduce you to a friend of ours. It is Jake Lloyd.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hello, Hello, Jake. Just looking at you gives me daddy issues. Can you tell me why?
It's probably because I ooze daddy issues, and you would be surprised at how many other people also ooze daddy issues, as well as many other issues. In fact, you ooze a little bit of daddy issues, Sarah.
A little.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gushing daddy
Yeah.
issues.
I know that because you were on an episode of my podcast, Elaborate, in which you sort of delved into your incredible relationship with your father. And we talked about PTSD. We talked about his insane background as a comedian in LA. It was really quite a fascinating conversation. And that's one of the great things about my podcast is I get to sit down with people that I know and learn even more about them. It's not therapy, but it's not therapy.
Okay, where do we find this thing?
You find it at elaboratepod.com or iTunes, Stitcher, wherever podcasts are found.
It's Dragon Wagon.